Great. Cool.
Hello, friends. It's good to see you again. Thank you for all your good wishes on my health. It really, on a daily basis, makes it very nice for me to be remembered by you all. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because as you'll see from today's show, that you're going to be see a lot of wonderful interviews. And I'm very excited because as one of the founders of the Gay and Lesbian Victory Fund, one of my passions have always been openly gay, LGBTQ plus candidates running for office. And we have in the 3rd District of Colorado, which stretches from Steamboat Springs down to Aspen, Vale, Telluride, and then over to the Democratic stronghold of Pueblo, Colorado. A charismatic young man who is openly gay, who is what we've all been asking for, what we saw recently from Beto, that kind of honesty and directness and taking people on. I don't want to take too much of his time, but the race is important, one, because we have one of our best and brightest running for the seat in the primary, which is June 28th in that district, the 3rd District of Colorado. I will have a link down in the description, which will take you to his Act Blue site. I expect you all to contribute, and you'll see why. He's in the Beto frame of mind. He ran his first in his announcement saying no more bullshit, literally saying no more bullshit. And it got him a lot of attention, and it got him my attention. And then I found out that he was a very strong, exciting candidate and has a bright future in politics no matter what's happened. And I am honored and humbled that he will take a few minutes out of his busy campaign to take my questions and be able to reach out to you directly. Alex, thank you for running.
Thank you so much for those kind words, and thanks for having me.
It is my pleasure. Alex, tell us a little bit about your opponent so everyone knows why this race is so important, besides electing a capable, charismatic, no more bullshit candidate.
Yeah, well, so obviously Lauren Boebert is one of the reasons I'm running for this seat. She's appalling. She's a disgrace. She's full of shit. I'm also running for my own survival. I get called all sorts of slurs in this district on a weekly basis, and that never happened before the elections of Donald Trump and later Lauren Boebert. And what happened? Did the whole district move out, and did everybody just get replaced with homophobes? No, of course not. These people embolden hateful streaks in a vocal minority of people who want to tear us apart. And I think my generation has been asleep at the wheel for too long. And so this really isn't about me. I'm running to show people my age, other people who might be better at this job than I would be, that you can run a fearless, honest, unapologetic campaign, and that we don't have to play by the old rules, because Republicans sure aren't. And until we figure out how to weaponize the truth just as well as they weaponize lies, we are not going to be in the fight. We are not going to be winning the fight for civil rights and for justice. And so we can't be the party of civility. We have to be the party of civil rights. And those are two very different things.
Now, your opponent is a member of QAnon, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. She claims, you know, if it's Tuesday, she says she's not. If it's Wednesday, she says she is. She just does whatever she has to do to raise money. But yeah, you bet your ass she is.
So she really is a part of the gang of Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
They're the Three Musketeers.
Yeah, they're buddies. We had a horrible tragedy in Texas this week. You are running in a district that is greatly rural, western Colorado, some conservative strongholds like Grand Junction, even Pueblo. Some of the Democrats have become more conservative. What's your position on AK-47s, and how do you think that will go in the district?
First of all, this is not complicated, and I'm really tired of politicians acting like this is complicated. We need to ban assault rifles. We need to ban bump stocks. We need to ban weapons on school grounds, and we need to close the Charleston loophole. This is not complicated. And to the question of if Republicans or Democrats or moderates will get behind me, absolutely. Nobody except sociopaths like Lauren Boebert stands for the killing of kids. And I spend 90% of my time on the trail talking to Republicans because I view my value in this district and in this race as starting to sort of demystify what makes a Trump voter. And it's not that they want kids to die. It's that they have legitimate gripes with how the country was being run and how rural America was left behind. And I don't necessarily disagree with them on many of those points, but not one of them has had any issue when I bring up gun safety with making America a safer place to own guns. And so I just continue to think Democrats do not have a messaging problem on issues like this. We have a ruthlessness problem. We need to go in and strongly and boldly say what is so effing obvious, which is that we need to ban military assault rifles. That's crazy. That is table stakes.
What kind of reception have you found as an openly gay man who has in a relationship, who's for banning assault rifles? Where do you find common ground with some of the ranchers and Trump people? Because I find, like you, often I understand what they're trying to say to us. It doesn't work anymore.
No, absolutely. So first off, I don't think we're as divided as social media wants us to believe. There is a lot of profit being generated off of our division, but statistically, we can't be that divided. Nature distributes people and views along a bell curve, right? This curve, which sort of says that most people fall somewhere in the middle and the minorities lie at the fringes of that bell curve. America is not the first country in the history of humankind to suddenly have an electorate where everybody is just shoved to the side. That's not the reality of America. That's the reality of Facebook and Twitter. But when I go out into this district, I walk into gas stations with Trump flags hanging over the door because that's the reality of life in the district. And it's not like I walk in there and they try to burn me at the stake for being gay. Most people are fundamentally reasonable and good. I truly believe that. And I'm not the kind of guy who's going to walk in or ride in on his high horse, acting like democratic ideals are the only way forward. We have to start compromising on some of this stuff. And so when it comes to me being gay, yeah, are there maybe 20% of Republicans who just tell me to go fuck myself? Yeah, of course. But growing up gay in America, you learn how to have a thick skin. That stuff doesn't get to me. 80% of people say, yeah, okay, well, I hope my kid isn't like you, but in some ways, I hope my kid thinks like you because you seem pretty reasonable. So
I think indeed we have to learn to be practical politically of what we can achieve and not achieve. There's the Joe Manchins of the world out there that makes it impossible for Joe to fulfill his agenda. And people can scream at him all they want. This is just my feeling. We don't have the votes. And it's our job to get people like you elected and reelect Bennett in Colorado to go back, but not only to compromise when practical, not just run and say, okay, we're willing to give up everything. I think we have to become the party of innovation. The party of the modern day New Deal, where Roosevelt started all sorts of programs and was innovative and took us out of the Depression and prepared us for war. And I feel we've lost our pioneer spirit in the party. And we've always been the party of innovation and technology and stuff. And I think we have to have fresh ideas. I want us to cease to be a party of slogans and one of action and truth. And that's what's so exciting about you. Your love affair with the truth. I've followed you. It's rare for me to put someone like you on this. And if people ask me why, I said he has a love affair with the truth and he's not afraid. Tell us a little bit where that comes from. Are you from the district? I mean, who
Yeah.
are you? Who the fuck are you?
Thank you for saying all of that. Who am I? So I was actually born outside of DC, and we moved to Colorado for a couple reasons. First, 9/11 happened and we were terrified. Second, my brother, who struggled for many years with mental illness, was starting to sort of derail, and Colorado was a better place for our family to rebuild. And so I grew up outside Denver until I went to Stanford, where I studied mechanical engineering, served as president of my class. I was out in the Bay Area for a few years after that, probably like 6 or 7 years total. My family moved to the Western Slope when I was 20, so my freshman year at Stanford, and have basically been there ever since, sort of ping-ponging back and forth at times. My dad served in now Senator Hickenlooper's office back when he was governor. And my dad is, if I have a love affair with the truth, my dad has a love affair with public service. So he
It was inbred into you.
he pretty much,
He was
it's
the role model.
against, I've always said I will not become my father, and here I am. But I think
Continue to change, by the way, as you get older. I'm 75.
I know it's only going to get worse. No, both my parents have set a wonderful example for me as far as having a love affair with the truth. And I've never heard that said before, but I think it's such a great way to put it. I grew up Republican. I grew up in a house where my dad sort of woke me up after the recount in the Bush v. Gore shit show. And he was like, "But son, it's okay. Bush won. America's going to be okay." Like that's the household I grew up in, but it was always a household of reasonable conservatives, right? And so when the GOP started to turn into new Jim Crow, like 20 years ago at this point, my parents almost immediately were like, "No fucking way, we're out," and became moderates. And then I came out when I was 20, and they were like, "Yeah, screw the GOP, they want you dead." And so I have always been brought up both by them and then studying engineering to just call it like it is and then build on top of what you know is real. Whereas I'm just so tired of the GOP building on top of lie after lie after lie. It's crazy.
I don't want this to become too long because I don't want them to tune you out. I want them to listen to you. You're a treasure to our community. You're a treasure to our party. People, if you're listening to this, you know why I chose him to be my first of this election cycle. There's a link to make a contribution. Don't think it has to be huge. I often have no money and pledge 25 here and $15 a month here. It's a cost of 2 drinks, or I could go into some other things, but I think we'll not go there. And we whine over and over again to me. Why can't we elect fighters? Why do we always end up not being, attacked and not attacking back? Well, stop whining. We have people like Alex Walker running. We have people like Beto running. We have good people running. And you lose all rights to whine if you don't contribute and support people like Alex Walker. He is one of the most impressive, charismatic candidates that I've met in ages. And you know that I've been at this politics for 60 years. I'm an old hooker. I've worked that street. I know all the Johns and what they're into in politics. This is the real deal, people. This is the real deal. So, Alex, we know you're sacrificing a lot to run. We know your partner is sacrificing a lot by you running. Thank you. And we'll do what we can to help you. And I'm looking forward to that lunch on Capitol Hill. I'm going to hold you to it.
Hey, I'll see you there. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Peace, Alex.
All right. See ya.
Take care.